You know what's funny? This verse is perfect for the actual overall conversation because
I know.
part of what I think is the reason for people doing what we're going to talk about is I think it's just haughtiness, just being arrogant, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we should just jump into it, right?
We might as well. I do want to just talk about a random nugget with that came to mind that I struggle with personally, and that the division part, right? There's this one dude on Twitter that I follow. He's a gamer, and come to find out but then he was bashing on Steve Furtick, which I personally enjoy listening to. And he was calling him a false prophet and all that stuff, and so I just DM'd him, and I had because we went a little back and forth about it. Hey, how blah blah blah, and now you know what? Let's kill the mess. Let's just talk in private. So I was just talking to him, and I understand his perspective. There's so many different perspectives, right? But then these perspectives a lot of perspectives are human driven, by our human nature. So it's kind of, and I don't claim to be the most spiritual person, the most knowledgeable or anything and that's what I'm saying. Struggle for me sometimes when you hear specific theology. Then there's another school, another class. Flame Pride. He just spoke out about this, what he believed in before and what he believes in now. You heard. So I'm just saying that scripture reminds me of that discord, division. Is we're reading the same Bible, but we're reading the words and analyzing it.
Question. So when he was calling out Stephen Furtick, what was his demeanor? Was he sad? Because in my opinion, the right reaction is if you think someone's a false prophet, you shouldn't be happy. You should be sad and hurt that someone is so deceived. They're leading people away, right? If you're calling,
and that's a wonderful point because it came off. It's words, right? So it's not any audio behind it. So you kind of receive it however you read it. But based on that, it was very. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
this is wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's, I don't want to call out specific theologies. I didn't even really know about all this. I'm doing research and finding out, man, there's so many different beliefs. And I grew up in a certain belief. Well, I didn't grow up at all with any belief, but then when I got saved, a certain belief, and then that's all I know.
Right.
So then when I got exposed to all these other thought processes that kind of go against learned,
right?
I'm kind of into. It did kind of make me go off course a little. Man, I don't know what to believe, And there's a lot of that nowadays too. I mean, I'm pretty strong in just in general relationship with God. But it's just theologies. What does the scriptures mean? There's so many different. I'm not even talking about translations of the actual Bible. I'm talking about translations from people.
Interpretation, right?
Yeah. So. That's crazy. I mean, it explicitly says that in the Bible, and it's happening with people that are interpreting the Bible. How crazy is that, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, my whole thing with calling out, to me, if you're trying to get attention in the Christian social media space, it's easy money to target the big name preachers and say, oh, you're a false prophet. You're a false prophet. Yeah, it's super easy.
Click.
It doesn't take any work. And to me, that's just lazy. I think there's one time my pastor said something along the lines that people who rejoice and enjoy, who get pleasure out of calling out people who are false prophets or deceived, if you get pleasure from that, that is actually kind of demonic. I don't think Jesus would get pleasure from seeing someone get deceived. He'll call them out for sure. The Bible is clear. You call them out. What's that verse say? Is you go by yourself. If they don't listen, you take two people. You take an elder. And
then a bigger group, then the church, and then at that point.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're getting pleasure from calling out people who are false teachers, and I don't think Stephen Furtick is a false teacher. I don't agree with everything he says.
No, I don't think we ever will agree with everything anybody says.
Yeah, exactly. It's very hard to do so, right? In full transparency, I'm not the biggest fan, but I've listened to clips, and as far as I'm concerned, if someone is trying to preach the gospel, I believe God can lead people to him through Stephen Furtick or any other preacher out there. I guess a problem, which is a whole other conversation. I don't think the whole idea of celebrity pastors should be a thing. I think it's anti the gospel. We're doing a series at church right now where my pastor gives an example of every single time that Jesus was doing a huge miracle, he healed someone, fed the 5,000, the 4,000, and they'd want to come make him king, he will retreat away. When he healed the guy at the pool, Like after he was done doing that, he would go away to go pray. He would never let them come give him glory, right? And by default, when there's a celebrity pastor, we are giving them glory. It's just what it is, right? It's which I think that's a good topic for the future. The whole Christian celebrity pastors, stuff like that. How do you reconcile that with the gospel, right? But yeah, dude, to me, it's unfortunate. I don't get pleasure. I've had this conversation with people in person before. They're listing out names. Oh, it's a false prophet. He wears expensive shoes, so he's got to be false. I'm like, yo, I'm not down with that. If you actually cared, you should be crying about that kind of stuff, because that means this person is leading tens of thousands of people astray to hell. If they are a false prophet, you shouldn't be like getting pleasure. You should be crying about that people are being led astray, right? So
and I'm glad you brought that up, because no cap. No cap. All right. We can, I don't want to talk bad about anybody. We're not talking bad about anybody, right? Just thoughts.
Yeah.
So